Oh my God, look at this. It's Sunday. It's actually Sunday, and we're here. Welcome back, everybody, if you're there with us. It's the floating chat. We are here. We are live. It's Rasa. It's Donald Rex is with us over here as well. So welcome, both of you. It's nice to see both of you. How are
Hello.
how are you both?
Okay.
Excellent. Very
Yeah,
well.
good. What's been going on? Anything exciting, Donald, from the Mastodon world? How's that going over there?
Oh, it's going. It's
Yeah.
I mean, uh it's different contextually from Twitter.
Yep.
It's everyone is very sedate and polite, and the conversations are friendly,
Yeah.
and not a lot of bots and not a lot of it's just like a totally different world. It
That's good.
doesn't stimulates you the way Twitter does, like with constant barrage of likes and like uh, like if you like something on Mastodon, it just goes to the person who you're addressing, and no one else
Okay.
sees it.
I
So
see.
it's not like and you have to actually go and click on the post before you can even see if you had any likes. So
Right.
it's a lot more effort to try to get that ego boo out of it.
Right. How about the ads on there? Is there lots of ads?
No ads,
Oh,
zero ads.
perfect. Yeah, that's beautiful. Because that's the biggest thing for me. I've spent so many years blocking ads that my Twitter feed is pretty amazing. It's pretty much ad free, and every once in a while, when one does show up, I just block that account, and that seems to work. But that's the biggest one for me. The ads are always such a pain in the ass.
Are you still in touch
Ad
with
free
your
world is
friends?
what I want.
Are you still in touch with your friends on Twitter? Or are
I
you visible?
honestly, I barely check in. I don't check in as much as I used to, especially now that I'm not doing the 500 comic goal on Twitter. I'm doing it just in book form. I really find myself not using it very much, and when I do, I scroll for maybe a minute and then I'm kind of over it, right? Which is so I think it's been kind of a bonus moving to the book. Not that, I'm not particularly adverse to Twitter or anything. I don't mind it. But it is nice to kind of be away from it because I was kind of getting into a space where I was watching and looking at it pretty like too much, I think, like scrolling. Hello, Howler Mouse. How are you? What movie are you going to see?
Yeah.
Um, so I'm finding it a nice reprieve of kind of not being around on there, and kind of picking and choosing my moments but I talk to people every once in a while. There's a guy I was just talking to the other day because he found a bunch of great underground comics. I won't mention his name just in case he doesn't want it, but for like $1 a piece,
Oh,
like
wow.
Boogeyman #2 and #3 of the Rory Hayes books, like light, like unbelievable amount of books for $1 a piece. I was telling him, I'm like, I'm on a plane tomorrow. I'm coming down. We're going to that shop because it's unreal the books that he got. So he quite a good score from him.
So
And
we're
Rasa, how are you? Oh, sorry.
in
Go
the
ahead. What?
no in the Canada? You talking about plane you picked up, boy?
No. He's a guy in this. He's a guy in the States. He lives in the
Ah,
U.S. So he's kind of the me of where he lives. He's the only guy in town. It feels like that is really into underground comics. So they always talk to him about, hey, help us price out this box. So we
uh-huh.
did that for one of the boxes, but I guess there was another box that was they didn't show him at the time. So when he was in the other day flipping through it, they just didn't know what to do with them and they just wanted to get rid of them. So like, $1 a piece, and it's whatever you want, just $1 a piece. So
Wow.
he came home with like a stack of like 20, 25 books and
Uh-huh.
some, like I said, some real doozies, like some real hard to find books that are absolutely worth a lot more than $1. Those Rory Hayes books alone are like $40 books. I mean, depending, right? Like they can get up there. It really depends.
Yeah.
Uh,
The
oh, cool.
the
Dragons.
Mhm.
the owner of one of the comic shops here in town keeps telling me he's got a long box full of underground somewhere, but his
Oh,
stock room is so packed that he can't come across it. So
right.
I'm hoping he'll find it one day, and I'll get some good scores there.
Yeah. Tell him to give me a call. I'll fly down. I'll help him out. I'll crawl in that back room, crawl over boxes, whatever you need. I'm there.
Yeah.
I always want to help. Yeah, it's crazy. And I think that happens a lot, right? I mean, it can't be easy having a comic shop if you're buying a lot of collections. Those boxes probably pile up pretty fast, I imagine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you don't sell them off,
Yeah.
I've been imagining doing stock take before you put on. That's why people don't have prices on, and then they tell you go to the till, and then they go, there's another price. Like, excuse me. So
Yeah.
I hate that stuff.
Yeah, I was at the flea market yesterday, and there was a couple of booths that had no prices on stuff. It's like, come on, man.
Yeah.
You know, like, because I know I'm going to bring it up and you're going to open the price guide or go on to eBay and give me those prices. I want you to price stuff.
Yeah.
On an issue of
Nice.
Quack from the late 70s. Yes, Quack, absolutely. Side of Sergio Aragonés I've never seen before. Oh, I didn't realize I don't have all the issues of Quack, but I've got quite a few of them.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And how are you, Rafa?
I had a trip going to see some bonsai stuff. There's this
Nice.
boot sale, but the funny thing was the same weekend they had a comic mart in London, but
Wow.
I just don't. It's crazy, but the amount of fees you have to pay just to get enter with the car, because I have not one or three persons to go in. I'm just not, like we do road trips, so it's much more fun, kind of family time. So instead, I chose to go in the bonsai stuff, and the prices in the bonsai stuff is. Sometimes it's like, times are changing so
Really,
fast. Yeah, it's another thing, like another part of your hobby where they aren't cheap. If you don't know what you're looking for, you don't know what it is there, the prices can be like really daunting. And for me, I'm a bit of a cheapskate sometimes. I mean, I understand the purposes of everything and the values of stuff. I just always look for a bargain, like comic books.
Absolutely.
It's the same fashion, but I was like, Jesus, people. And I was like, and my husband, like, so how much that tree is? Like, that much. And he's like, what? What? It's like 600 quid for a tree.
Oh, wow.
But that's just like average price.
And how old is that one for 600 quid?
It's around like 30 something odd years.
It's like a chain of events, though. When they charge so much to get in, that means that the people who have the booths are paying sky high prices, and so you can't get a bargain.
Yeah. Well, the beauty of this place where I went, it actually like you have flea markets. It's kind of similar style for bonsais. So people comes in who actually basically owners of the bonsais and comes to sell. So they themselves already overpricing the stuff, like in the values of because everything gets really pricey these days. I don't know how but in England generally, I think you're probably well aware that the things are just rising, and that doesn't stop. So I guess it's just the way the times are at the moment. So everything is like people if they want to sell something, they want to gain as much of the pound, the penny of everything as they possibly can. And I understand due to the time and effort you have to make when you do take care of plants. And generally, the trees are very precocious thing. It's a commitment. Yeah, it's almost like I have like an extra 25 children outside waiting for me to be watered, fed, and repotted. But that's part. No, I'm not complaining. I don't want to get outside of that.
Right?
This is for me. Springtime is the best time of the year because I see my trees waking up. And I absolutely love that feeling because the winters are kind of like long and over. And this winter, especially, I think everywhere spring doesn't come up as soon as we would expect. Even in April, we still feel cold and minus temperatures, which is kind of crazy in this part of the world. So anyway, I like that part of it, but it just mesmerizes me what I used to buy and what price I used to pay and what you get for whatever you pay now. So. Nothing. I have this I call it Big Mama. So this is ginormous trident Japanese maple, and she's almost the same age as I am. So I'm not going to say it out loud. I feel old already.
27.
Yeah, something like around that. Nice, really. Yeah. I do have gray hairs anyway. So
I had gray hairs at 20.
that tree generally goes for like crazy price. And I bought it for bargain because it needs maintaining and needs to work on it. It's not really up to that high standards yet. But because you need to work on it, I paid really nothing. The value of that tree now is up to £3,000.
Wow.
And not fully, not yet to the point.
Right.
So you can understand the pressure amount. Like it's not that I want to sell it. Don't get me wrong, but the pressure of the pure amount of money. Like, do I put? If I don't take care of it, or that's it. So if I can't take care of it, I have to sell it to somebody who actually can do it. Because it's what they call it a specimen, not really yet a specimen, but it could be to a point of specimen, which is, like you can, like showcase it to every way you want to go with it, So I'm trying to work on that stuff, but I'm, like I have a child, but I was so worried when I had a baby, that tree is gonna just, okay, bye-bye. You didn't take care of me really well. I was like, I used to go like crazy mentally because it's a thing, like that it's a good thing to have also, but the pure age of it just makes you excited because it can basically bypass me easily.
Yep.
So I could just actually leave that to my son if he wanted to, let's say, and he would go live with him happily if he would take care of it. So that's the
kind of an amazing thought. Hey, that's pretty great.
Yeah, so that kind of sense of it, that's why I really do like as well. So kind of leave a testament to what I was doing beforehand, or grow old with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, 100%. And something that you're, really careful with and trimming. And I imagine, like, do you have a big magnifying glass? You sitting there with little scissors and like, really? Oh, okay.
No, I'm not that cautious.
Okay, that would be amazing, though. That would be fantastic.
Yeah, but there's people who does like, but you have to be aware, like you have to just maintain that stuff. So, but yes, another world I dwell into it, and all because of this bloody Karate Kid.
Right.
That's what gave me the absolute obsession about that stuff. I wasn't even aware. I wasn't even caring about plants in that time when I was watching it. But since that bug, that Miyagi teaching him how to trim that tree, that just got me somewhere. And and then I, of course, later, like 25 years later, I started getting into this hobby, which is in itself is quite daunting as well. Cheers.
Cheers. Sorry, we got some of my favorite sake today.
You're pouring it down. It's like creamy lemonade or something.
Oh, because it's so good. This one is so good. There's a nice fruity flavor to it as well, too. So it's a beautiful one. Like it costs as much as kind of a big bottle of the other stuff does, but it's so worth it. Yeah. So because it's heavenly.
I haven't yet found a sake I actually like because, as I say, I don't understand it much.
If you can find this one. Sayuri in the pink bottle. They have a blue bottle and a pink bottle. The pink bottle, and then really, really chill it. Like put it in the freezer for a little bit. Really get it nice and cold and drink it that way. Oh man! And then you just gotta shake it up because this one has quite a bit of sediment in the bottom and stuff. So, but it's beautiful, and it's this beautiful kind of creamy, milky color, and it's lovely.
That's why, because what I saw, I was thinking maybe it's like a milkshake or something, desserty stuff as we were drinking, but Sayuri. Yeah, okay, I think I spelled it right.
Sayuri, that's right, yep. So shall we talk comics?
Yeah, sure.
Rasa, you want to start us off, and then I'll scarf down the rest of my ramen while you're chatting away?
Okay, I'll show you what I have from the library first. I guess that's what.
Let me remember how to do this. There we go.
But the books I haven't yet read, unfortunately. But like I always overdo it in my library, so
it's so easy to do. Yeah,
very easy. And then realizing that I can take more than 5 books, that it was a revelation in itself. So I've been doing quite a bit. So the first one is Counterfeit Girl. By Peter Milligan, Rufus Dagu, and Dom Regan.
Oh, nice! Yeah. Never heard of that one.
Me neither. So, but Peter Milligan, 2000 AD.
Huh. Wow.
So Peter Milligan is there, and the colors. I looked at it because the cover basically really represents the inside as well. Which is absolutely something I definitely don't mind reading. And I'm not sure anything about this, as you guys are well aware. If something grabs my attention and I pick it up, I don't really look inside until I find out and read it. So, it looks really cool. It's a very slim volume. of that. And I don't know exactly anything what's happening with this one. I'll let you know when I read it. So, but Peter Milligan's name is what drew me into it. So I do like his stuff. A bit bizarre for some
absolutely.
people, but I absolutely love that. So.
Where's my note paper to write it down? Sorry, what was it called again? Where's my pen? Oh, right here.
Counterfeit Girl.
Counterfeit Girl. Okay, copy that. Writing it down.
Okay. Right. Now the guy. Oh my God! Why don't you? Anyway, I guess I will say Brian Lee O'Malley's book Lost at Sea. I have a convention. I have not. Scott Pilgrim I never read in a comic format. I only watched the movie, which I absolutely love. But I saw something different from him. This is 10-year anniversary edition, so this has been in the while. So Oni Press, which published that quite a time ago, I presume. 2014, and it has that style of O'Malley's for sure, and seems to be intriguing. And I really like that two-tone color scheme comic. I'm quite a fan of that. So of course I will read that, and it's follows the story of Riley trapped on a road trip with 3 classmates she hardly knows. And the destination may be clear on the map, but it soon becomes apparent that nobody, especially Riley, knows where they're going. So intriguing. We'll see what's this all about. Also, then we have something like this called The Thrilling Adventure of Lovelace and Babbage. Sidney Padua.
Huh.
It's his publication of his English publication. Where is it? Come on, give me something. It's called an imprint from Penguin Books, and it's printed by Particular Books. This is interesting, curious anecdotes celebrating the distinguished characters. And it has a lot of letters at the bottom, but absolutely love the way it presents itself. And I like this comedic style, expressionist art, which I really like because I think it's quite difficult sometimes to pull it off. I'm not sure anything about it. Once again, I'll let you know what's happening.
Looks great.
It does have that, which is. Will be have to pick up really good time for me to have all attention for it, so I don't skip it, but we'll see. But it seems to be entertaining. It has lots of like kind of experimental types of stuff, so it's very interesting sense of the book. So like not always what you can see in here, and it seems to be I have to push a page upside down to read it as well. Interesting. So and it's called The Thrilling Adventures of Lovelace and Babbage, the mostly true story of the first computer, which is cool. So something that. And then last but not least, I guess, of what I haven't read yet, it's called Follow Me In by Catriona Chapman. This is absolutely splendid looking art inside. It's all pencils. It feels like it is. It's printed that way as well. Yeah. But I don't know exactly what it is all about. As you see, graphite style. I just, like something I haven't yet discovered, especially of a person. So she's new to me for sure. I've never heard of her before. So I'll definitely I'll give you opinion of when I read it and see if that gave me any attention, but I don't see who is publishing. Maybe it's at the back. Oh yeah, it is. Avery Hill Publishing, so it's UK based once again. So it's been I guess it's been translated as well, so we'll see how it goes. Looks a bit moody, but this cover is just like what drew me in for sure. I guess the coloring and stuff. And okay, so shall I just talk about something I read?
Yeah, talk about something you read. Yeah, go for it. Yeah.
Sorry about that. So Clementine Book
Oh,
one.
nice. Yeah.
So Tilly Walden. So everybody was saying don't mind Walking Dead, and I absolutely agree with them. Walking Dead is on the background, or people who is murderizing. We do really focusing on this girl Clementine and her survival, because she doesn't have one foot. It seems to be she was kind of like, when this all catastrophe has happened, she was just a child, and we're following her by just walking around by herself, feeling a little bit like she needs to like survive, or does she want to survive, but she's keep on battling. And what she comes upon is this little place, and also she keeps continue having the memories of the man who basically saved her. So when this happened, she lost her parents, and this guy came in into her life in the right moment, I guess, and made her survive, because he took it her away from the dangerous, and she just keeps on reminding herself of that, I guess, memories of this. And what is this base story is of her afraid of having to lose people and always say goodbye to people she cares about, because every single person she kind of started caring for, she started, they died for some sort of circumstances. So while she is having those memories, she comes across these 3 girls who all of them have some sort of limbs missing and stuff like that, and she's like tried to keep quiet, but they heard her while awake, and they start to have these conversations, and she's like, don't mind me, I'm just passing by. And like every people kind of like start to be cautious of each other because of survival. So anybody who's you're approaching or talking to, you become like a more aware of them, and you start like like maybe kind of become aggressive towards them or not. But they had this conversation, they realized that she doesn't have a foot and that she's really struggling to walk, so they invited her to come into this place. And it seems to be those the religious parts of people who I don't know the name, like people who close off for the society and they just live by the same part, like they wearing those hats. I'm
Like
blanking.
hermit kind of thing, like.
Yeah, exactly that. So she come across that kind of populations where they have really good self-sufficiency of themselves as well, but also they're kind of helpful people. And she's like, I don't know if I should go, because you never know what you're gonna find. But it seems to be she came across good folks who they basically just try to basically help her. So they make her a new leg for her, because they had a specialist, a dentist, who became almost to help people without limbs and all, like who can make prosthetics. I was looking for that word while I was talking. Teaching her how to wrap her foot in order not to make it more hurtful, because the wounds and all that kind of like uncomfortableness for her. And she was very grateful. But she's just like, no, I thank you very much for your help. I just want to leave. I'm walking, have destination to go north, kind of thing. So she kind of shrugs away and she leaves them. But then there's this story happens with her when she meets the boy from that place, and he's on the mission to go to this mountain. And basically that's the whole story where this book is going for. 2 of them going somewhere to that mountain place where they think, because it's high up, the dead people won't be reaching. Apparently you can just survive from that, or at least that's the boy's impression, was what it would be that place like. And somehow, because of this idea that because it's going to help to create another homestead kind of thing in that area, for some people they will fly them. And the planes and everything that's crashed, no fuel. So how that kind of thing happens, Clementine didn't believe him at all. He thought like maybe you're a little bit crazy, like that religious type of people. But or she was surprised how willing himself to go, and he's almost like of age, like 17, 15, something like that. But anyway, they go on the strips and they get to the mountain, and the story goes so well, but it's heartfelt story, where they meet these people who they're supposed to work for, and there's these 2 twin girls, and they have this like kind of horror type feel to them. Kind of they know like they weathered themselves, and they just have this one goal, how to survive and how to build this new homestead. And there's things happening, unfortunately not really good ones, because of the area and situation the story continues in. But it's really interesting to see how Clementine has to deal with this stuff, and she still kind of finds the fighting in herself. And I really liked it. It made me upset, of course, in some moments. But as I say, those those dead live wherever, those Walking Dead people were in the kind of background, just like like part of a story, but not really. What it was intriguing to see how the freak, almost like what there were 5 of them, and how they tried to create this illusional homestead, and then they get in situations where somebody gets into homesteaders. Thank you. Anyway, so so it's absolutely fantastic little tale. There's only book 1 printed. There's no book 2. I looked through internet. So it's a pity, but it has the end to it, so which is great. So you kind of, when you read this through, you'll have the reward. And Tilly's work is absolutely splendid. I think it's all this black and white and gray hues in this really helps. And of course, I did this due diligence of myself, keeping the book working this time. So I did draw.
Yes.
And so that's my version of Tilly's.
Oh shit, yeah.
So yeah, that's him and her like really being friends. But
That's awesome.
I'm definitely gonna not spoil it, because it's kind of really interesting tale. I think really worth reading, and I think that Walking Dead really kind of spoils the story, to be honest, by a advertisement. I think it shouldn't.
Right.
In a way, I mean, it's there. Yes, it's at the same time when things happens, but the Clementine and her unfortunate discoveries and friends who she tries to make and not lose is the main part of the storyline, and it's really, really well done. And Tilly's, as I say, work is, the emotions are there, the characters are very believable. I was rooting for all of them. When the really bad thing happened, I was like gobsmacked kind of thing, like, oh really? Yeah. But I mean, I shouldn't be surprised, because at the end of the day, the time where you are drawing the story from, I really was surprised by it. And I know now why, when we were chatting last time, people were saying, don't worry about Walking Dead, just read this. And I'm glad I did it, because it's definitely a fantastic little thing.
Yeah, it's a neat idea to kind of loan out the property, I guess, to these other creators. I wonder if they're planning to do that with more people, I mean, I guess there would also potentially be limitations with that, like you said, it's still set in that world, so there's still some things that they're gonna come up against, but it's a neat idea.
That book 1 is bothering now, because as I say, I have not seen there's any other book 2 is it coming out, because I definitely will follow Clementine for sure, because it seems to be there's more for her to give, because the struggle is so real and it feels real throughout the pages, and it's really easy to read. I don't know how if you haven't yet read Tilly's work, it's really too easy to read. Cool. For sure, follow the story through. And one of the first things I read, I think, is Spinning. It's one of her books. I hope I'm not mistaken from one of the other creators, but yeah, look, it's advertisement. Tilly Clementine book 2. But then I don't.
Oh, I see.
Oh, look at the date, June 2023.
Well, there you go.
There you go. I just answered my own questions.
Yeah.
It's hilarious.
It takes a while to draw that big book.
Yeah, no doubt. Honestly, highly recommend, well worth reading, and give it a chance, even though, as I say, it's a skybound image printing as well. So if you were not aware of that, but yeah.
Right.
Surprise. Very good read.
Making a note.
Okay. If you find it here in libraries.
Yeah, I think I'll be able to find it in the library. I mean, the library seems to have so many surprising things these days that doesn't seem out of the ordinary that it would have that. Mr. Rex, I presume. I will share here. I'll just start with, do you want to do the Prince Valiant or the Gasoline Alley?
Let's do Prince Valiant first. That's one of my main strips.
So
this was a collection that I bought on eBay, and it went really cheap. It was more than 200 pages from 1939 to 1943. And it was virtually complete. There were like a couple strips missing, but I got them really cheap, like maybe $30. And
Oh, wow.
and so I scanned them all, and I've been I was for a couple of years I was putting them on Twitter, and now I'm putting them on Mastodon, 4 panels a day, and this be really popular. People seem to really follow it, and it really works in that format. But so I had a strip there that was an example, one of the most famous of Prince Valiant's adventures.
Sorry, give me a sec. It didn't work there. Stand by. Sorry. I'm getting used to being on a computer again, people.
Yeah. Surprise for him.
Let's see. 17, 18. We'll do this one here. This is the one?
Yes. What happened was this is the guy on the horse going away is Prince Arn, and he and Val were both vying for the same woman, Eileen, and these Vikings have kidnapped her. And so Arn is going to get help, and he gives Val his sword, the singing sword, which is like this it's like it was made by the same person who made Excalibur, and it's like a the perfect sword. And when it sings as he swings it. So he faces down this whole big group of Northmen. If you go to the next, this is one of the most famous images from Prince Valiant.
Here we go.
You should have to cue the music.
Yeah.
There it is.
Oh, dude, yeah, look at that.
So first they send their biggest guy, and Val just makes mincemeat out of him.
Right.
So they all come running at him, and he just takes them apart.
Amazing. That's amazing. What a page, man. So I'm sorry. This is one of the pages that you got. You were saying.
Yes.
Amazing.
There's a story about this page. Al Williamson, the artist Al Williamson. He was at King Features offices, and he was going through some stuff in the back room, and he pulled out the original to this, and I guess he got it for his collection. It was amazing. Just amazing.
I can't believe the color. I mean, I don't know what is this computer screen, or is it still like as bright as this, but in newspaper format to have this color, man. Oof.
The artisans who worked in the newspaper were so great, and the color that they did at that time was just can't be matched by today's processes.
Oh.
I mean, and that makes sense. I mean, if that's your primary means of distribution, you're going to put a lot of time into it, right? So it looks stunning. And because even that first photo that you showed there, even though they do look a little browned, it's amazing that it's still that kind of just crisp. They look beautiful. What a freaking deal. Nobody's looking for these pages, I guess, is the thing, right? Since all these collections are out there, nobody's really getting the original or trying to get
the full pages are still very collectible, and people do buy them. But that they just, since these were cut down and pasted down onto the paper, but the paper I think was acid free, so that it hasn't caused fading.
Right.
So the person who collected those strips was very careful about the way how he cut them out and pasted them down. They were all very straight. When I was able to scan them, I could just put them on the scanner, and they would just come out perfectly.
Wow. That's meticulous, to say the least.
Yeah. Nobody cares about stuff. So.
Yeah.
Very good.
Well, and I mean, and for the time, like that's pretty forward thinking. But I guess, I mean, it makes sense. Even when I was a kid, I was cutting out strips from the comics and putting them in like those old kind of photo albums that had the plastic sheet covering and stuff. We did the same thing. So, I mean, it makes perfect sense that people would have done it back then as well, too.
Yeah.
Amazing that he was able to keep them for that long, too.
Yeah. I don't think kids would be doing these things because they don't even know what newspaper these days is.
Right. Do you want me to share your screen that you have here, Donald? This next one, if
you like, we could do that. That strip was when Prince Valiant goes to America in 1947. Alita is kidnapped by this Viking, and Val chases them all the way across the ocean, and they come and they meet these Native Americans.
Mhm.
I think in Canada, and they and the Vikings are so mean and vile, and Val kills them, and so they're adopted by these people, and Alita was pregnant, and so she gives birth to their son in the New World, and he comes out, and they name him Arn after the guy that he got the sword from.
Right, right. It's such a great drawing of that baby screaming there.
Yeah, almost like a picture like.
Yeah, it's crazy. Very cool. Did you have any more on your side you wanted to share there for Prince Valiant?
I didn't really get any more than just that one.
Oh, okay.
That's all that showed up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool. That's a hell of a deal, man. A hell of a deal.
Yeah. Do you want to talk about those gasoline alleys, or you want to do
sure.
those?
I'll put them on. Yeah, no, for sure. Let's put them on.
People remember Gasoline Alley by the Frank King ones are very celebrated, but this artist Dick Moore started working with him in the I think in the 50s. He started ghosting on there, and then in the later in the 60s he took it over, and his style, it's hard to really tell, but it's very meticulous and very with the lines. And he introduced a new cast of characters, Miss Melba and Joel and Rufus, and but he kept the old characters like Walt Wallet up there in the first panel, and he had his own style and his own sense of humor, and I think that these strips are really worth remembering. Although I don't know if they've ever been really extensively reprinted, but they're very entertaining.
Is there any reprints of this stuff?
I got these. I scanned from the Menominee Fall Guardian.
Oh, right. Yeah.
That I bought, but I haven't seen any collections of Dick Moore's Gasoline Alley.
Right. And then this other one here. I think this is the right one. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, this is.
It looks beautiful. Really, really nice.
This is Rufus and Joel in that center strip, and this guy in the first panel was Melba's childhood sweetheart, and he comes back to claim her hand in marriage. But meanwhile, she had become sweet with Rufus, who is the guy with the hat over his head. So you can see there's something headed to happen here. He has a date with her that night, and she doesn't show up. So it's like, oh no, what's going to happen?
Wow. It's beautiful. Just even looking at this donkey and stuff, it's really nice looking stuff. I don't know this at all.
Yeah, it's very beautiful artwork, and it's very entertaining.
Yeah.
On a day-to-day basis, it was really kept you hanging in there.
Yeah. I've got a couple of those Menominee Falls things. I'll have to have a look to see. I've never really taken a close look at them. I should have a close look and see. There
were two. There was the Guardian, which reprinted the funny comics, and then there was the Gazette, which printed like Flash Gordon and Tarzan.
Right. It might be the Gazette that I have. Then that might be, yeah.
That was like the Big Brother. That was, the main thing that like all the artists collected. Modesty Blaze and.
Right. Then that's definitely the one that I have. That'll be the one for sure. So I'll look for the other one too. Those are beauty.
Yeah, I'm glad to share them with you.
My notebook there, my note paper. So I've got, what do I got here? This was a surprise in the shop this week. Me and my daughter took a visit down to Galaxy Comics, and sitting on the shelf was Caroline Cash, right? Yes, Caroline Cash, this PP Poo Poo comics, which I'd heard about, and I've looked at it a bunch of times, looking to pick up a copy, but as always happens, it's just so damn expensive. This is Silver Sprocket. This is the third printing of it, because it's Ignatz award-winning comic. I was shocked to see 2 copies up in my shop there. So it's from Silver Sprocket. This is the Silver Sprocket special edition. I guess it was limited to 2,000. So I bought it and went to the owner of the shop and said, hey, if you get more Silver Sprocket stuff, just automatically throw them in my box, because it saves me an absolute boatload for shipping. This is a really, really fun stuff, as you can tell kind of from the first page. Calvin and Hobbes type character pissing on Robert Crumb. Whose head's coming out of the toilet. It's a pretty fun little book. It has that kind of underground sensibility to it. It's some really nice quality paper as well too. And there's our kind of intro to the book. There, as a wise man once said, pee pee poo poo. It's really good. So it's filled with kind of short strips. Beautiful style by Caroline Cash. I think Colin, Comic Book Manifesto, has talked about Caroline Cash before. Excuse me as I'm burping up all that booze. The one that kind of impressed me the most, because there's these kind of jokey, here we go. She does a take on Dan Clow's Art School Confidential, the unofficial Art School Confidential, just talking about kind of an update of when she spent time in art school, and the kind of personalities. So the Daniel Clowes one was really kind of cutting about the people that are going to these schools and things. So hers is kind of equally so, maybe a little bit milder, but the point is still there for sure. But the one that I liked the most was this story here. One Beer. These two women go to a bar to drink and kind of kvetch about, I guess, about their love lives and things, and how you start conversations with other women, and just a really nice little story as they talk about kind of their pickup methods. This moment here was really nice. The measuring the hands technique is one of the pickups that one of them uses. So there's some kind of skin on skin contact, and it's a beautiful page here where just word balloons. You don't hear anybody talking, and it's kind of like this moment of the two of them sitting at the bar. Inevitably, a couple of douchebags show up to buy them some beers, as you can see by their dripping text there. And as they should, they take full advantage of it and let them buy them a bunch of booze, and then at one point sneak out of the bar together, say they're going to the washroom, and they just get the hell out of there. I enjoyed that one the most, I think. I really like her style a lot. It's really nice stuff. And these bigger pages where she gets to kind of stretch out a little bit are beautiful. And kind of the borders here, the playing with the borders, making it part of the environment is really nice. Yeah, this final story, this guy talking about pretending to be a teenage girl on Twitter. And sending this older guy pictures of his poop, and this guy paying for those pictures, and he feels a little guilty of, should I be doing this? And it's a real poo poo pee pee world out there is kind of how it ends. So it's fun stuff. Be curious to see if she does any more of this. I love this bigger style too. It's really nicely made. Like, this cover stock is real heavy stuff. Yeah, so that was a real shock. I don't know what the impetus for the shop getting this one in. I guess because it was listed in the previews, I'm assuming. I don't know if Silver Sprocket has a section in there, but I don't know how else it would get on their radar. I doubt there's anybody else.
It showed up in my comic shop too, and I looked at it, but I couldn't afford it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I had 2 books in my pull list, so I figured out what the hell, because it was, what is it, $10 American, I think is what it was. Yeah, $9.99 US. So
10, maybe it's 10. Oh well, maybe I could have afforded it.
Yeah, I mean that's what the cover price is. I mean, every shop maybe prices things differently. Who knows, right? So
yeah, not always the same price, isn't it?
Yeah, totally. I think it's very much worth it, though. I'm glad to see it and then support. Because I want my shops to carry all this weird shit, even if it is just for me. Just make it the Terrence shelf, just my the comic crack shelf.
Well, if you continue going to buy it, I guess you should just completely give them idea of that. So You
Yeah.
might have your shelf.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Do you know that I'm a famous YouTuber? You should do a crack recommends shelf.
Not sure everybody would buy it, but you know, it's
Yeah, exactly.
recommendations. You know, I'm a popular one, so he's
The
definitely
one
the
other
one
person
thing.
in the city. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
What do you got there, Rasa?
Okay, so I'm gonna show some of my previous chats. So I actually caught up with some of the stuff I read and drew. So my favorite story of that last week was The Junction by Norm Kanui. So this is
Uh-huh.
a bit of difficult to portray that because it was digital, and I tried to put it in a line format.
Yep.
Also, I drew the Tintin.
Oh yeah, look
The
at that.
Treasures of Tintin
I love
by
that.
Hirsch, the Golden Claws, and of course the Ducks, the 2
Uh-huh.
Years in the Oil Sands.
Hey, that's
by
cool
Kate
too.
Beattie.
Wow.
So that's her, the way she drew herself. So I guess I just followed through.
Yeah.
And then I read my turtle thingy. I need to continuously. I finally received it. My couple of books in pull list. So these 2 of the issues came out,
Mhm.
and it continues to have that Armageddon in the background. The game, which is I think it's about 10 issues. So they put that throughout the months, and it's kind of like makes me kind of like lose some parts of the storyline. But I continue still picking up just the main title without having, because having that, I'll show you the lists they come out. This is not in 1 month, but this is the checklist.
Holy smoke.
Holy smokes,
Yeah,
right.
and this is what tells you what they kind of come out with, and there's lots of stuff coming out.
And sorry, you
And
said that's how many months does that cover?
It's about wait, give me a second. About 5-6 months.
Wow. Yeah.
And that's a lot of books for
Hell yeah,
that.
it is.
So you would have to have at least 5 books a week. Sometimes it depends how the publishing goes, but there's quite a lot of stuff. So, and I'm only going for the main title. And I mean, as I say, I just kind of struggles with the stuff, but I continuously enjoying Turtles. I can, you know, like it takes me a while. So 2 issues, of course, if reading, I kind of catch up to the storyline, and it continues to be as fun as it always have been. Unfortunately, some of the things which happening in the world kind of like the dividing the groups. The wall which have been captured, all Mutanimals were captured behind the wall, like almost how it happens in the real world, you know, like Trump's having to put the wall down. So they kind of put that in the comic book in here, where the Mutanimals were blocked away in parts of New York or / whatever the city they are, apart from the people because of the incident. A lot of mutants can come upon. Then you have Triceratops Queen or Baby, who was basically aged further because they were trying to completely get rid of the species, but she survived and Turtles got involved. And there's lots of things happening, a lot of course, a lot of actions whatsoever. It's like, you know, like Turtles without action, that would be not really a turtle book. And I'm continuously loving what I have. It's my injection of that childhood memories by getting this book throughout the month. It takes sometimes a longer time because of the way I pick it up, but it continues to be as entertaining as ever. So, and of course I had to draw something, so I just drew a little like action scene jump of the turtle.
Beauty.
So to keep that in mind, and I'm completely waiting for this because that's going to be that mini advertised by Ninja Turtles and Usagi Yojimbo with Stan Sakai is actually drawing the comic. It's the mini series of 5 issues, supposed to be beginning in March, but I don't think it came out in March. I think it's now April, but
okay,
you never know. Because I definitely keeping an eye now, and I'm gonna Boba, my comic book guy, is gonna hate me again. Because like, oh yeah, why you're only getting those couple of books, but you're so annoying. Come on, lady.
Yeah.
What you want from me, but hopefully not. But yeah, so those 2, it's kind of refreshing, you know, like lots of reading graphic novels and now picking up in single format. it's really easy to, when you go through graphic novel, you're like, yeah, you read the whole story, you get, the whole world slaps on your head, and you start thinking what the hell you read. Whereas now you have monthly books, and you're like, so what did I read like a month and a half ago? I think I remember, but then you're like, oh, okay, and it catches up, but it takes you a bit while. So
Yeah.
I kind of miss sometimes reading like kind of like repeatedly weekly pull lists in single format, because it's so much easier to read, to be quite honest with you. When you start pulling all those graphic novels and you start like, oh, look, I read the graphic novel like in a day. And you're like, I know it's a graphic novel, it's not a whole prose book, but still it's lots of reading matter, and you have to kind of like get that stuff inside.
You got to be in the mindset for it. Yeah, it's a different mindset for sure.
Yeah, but as I say, it's kind of like really like easy to read. It's like okay, well, it took me like one issue took me like 5 minutes, maybe 7 minutes max.
Right.
So that's what kind of single issue gives you to you. Like a graphic novel gives you like it depends on what size of the graphic novel is, but
yeah, a little bite-sized chunk. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Seeing that reminds me, did you ever catch up on those Eastman and Laird's kayfabe interviews where they're going through
I lost track of it because like there's too much things, and I lose where like the traffic, how much you sub to. But I'll go back because I guess
it's so good. I think you'd get a kick out of it, especially just because they really dig into the history, and it's really interesting. Even for a guy who's not a hardcore Turtles fan like me, it was still super cool to hear the stories of publishing, them self-publishing, and all of that stuff.
Yeah, the thing is, what they are also doing is now, I guess they're trying to just keep the ball rolling. They're coming out with this best of a Krang, or best of Leonardo, best of all the characters, and they create this single. You can get it single in a single issue, or you can get it in like a graphic novel size, so it's like trade paperback format, and you have those collected editions, whatever, from Eastman's and Laird's world was the best to introduce, I guess, the character, just get that world going, because the collected editions from IDWs keep on, like the hardcover ones especially, keep sold out now. Some of them are out of stock, so you can't purchase them, so you can't get into that world. And then also they're trying to get the older stuff back, I guess, just to, as I said, keep that ball rolling, so people
keep it in print. It's a smart idea.
And get that things on. This is actually looking great.
Keep that money train going.
Now look at Deep Space Nine, which I absolutely love.
Right.
And the new Picard series, I don't know if you guys watch it or not.
I haven't, no.
But the Picard series are going with the storyline where Deep Space Nine was going for, where the shapeshifters guys who were coming into to want to infiltrate the Star Trek the command centers and stuff like that, basically take them over, because they're this guy who basically comes into liquid form. I don't know if you guys, I keep on forgetting names when I want to speak something.
I forget his name too. I know who you're talking about.
Dominion is the bad guys, like the whole cult thing called. And he was one of the guys who we didn't know who he was, and then he found out in Deep Space Nine series. So anyway, the new Picard series is going through Dominion again, and it's fantastic, by the way. Me and my husband are like glued, because it kind of feels really old school, because all the Picard crew is coming back, all aged, and Worf. That we were like, do you realize how old is Worf, the actor who actually portrays Worf? He's 70. I was like, and he just like swings the thing, and it's like, what? Good aging. Right. So bravo. Just looking this for, so well for the age, and you cannot like realize how actors age, because you keep on remember that memory of when you were watching originally, the original series and stuff like that. It's fantastic, and it's just like, but it's just like looks so like, even though he has a beard and all the gray and stuff, it's just as if you're a Star Trek fan, of course. That just will
count how many edits are in his action scenes. If there's lots of edits, then they've done like 1 million takes. If there's no edits, then that's even more impressive for sure.
I don't know how
that
to,
sounds cool though.
I would like to know how to actually know if they have been cutting a lot of scenes, but it seems to be there's a fight scenes or like sparring scenes with him and the younger chick were part of the storyline, and he looks like smooth swinging. That's amazing. Like that the Worf you knew from the series, original series.
Very cool.
Like,
yeah.
So the Picard series are lovely. I don't know what some people having not happy about it. Maybe because you see grandpas on the screen, but and generally, but I just absolutely the
I
stories
feel
are
like
really good.
the stuff I've heard about it is from hardcore fans, and I've heard a lot of positive things about it. People are
Yeah,
loving it. I haven't heard.
yeah.
I mean, not that I'm looking all the time, but I haven't heard many complaints about it or anything.
I
But
absolutely love that. But I
yeah,
think me and my husband are like, yeah, they nailed it. Why continue doing that? Like more, please, more. And you have
awesome.
all the characters. Data is in there, and they kind of captured him back into being because he's supposed to be dead. Data, because of the last storylines anyway. So I'm gonna
Okay, yeah,
go on a tangent now because I'm a Star Trek fan. But anyway, he was
yeah,
supposed to
yeah.
be dead. He's not supposed to be there, but the storyline capture him back into the story, and you see Data talking again. You're like, whoa, it's kind of fantastic to look at for a fan. For a fan, it's a fantastic series for sure, I think.
Before I go to Donald, the other thing that triggered me seeing those and thinking about kayfabe, there was an interview with Dennis Kitchen talking about Kitchen Sink in the early days of Kitchen Sink that was unreal. I don't know if either of you watched that one, but anybody who's watching, that's highly recommended as well. I love Dennis Kitchen's art. I love Kitchen Sink Press. I think they're so important. He's been so important. One of the greatest stories that he tells about making the comics book with Stan Lee and Marvel, and basically how he kind of befriended Stan during like the Mom's Homemade Comics, which was Dennis Kitchen's own comic. When he did that first issue, he sent it with a cover letter to Marvel, not thinking he would hear anything back. Turns out Stan wrote him back. They became kind of pen pals. And they became pretty close, where Dennis would send him kind of copies of stuff he was publishing all the time. And they built up this relationship. And I guess Stan had kind of pressured or pushed a couple of times, like, hey, I got work for you. Come on over. And he always said no. He's like, and he in the interview, he's talking, he's like, I like being my own boss. I like doing, I had no intent, I had no desire to go work at Marvel. They hit a period with Kitchen Sink where it looked like it was going to go under, and he was kind of desperate for some work. So we kind of reached out to Stan and said, hey, do you still have something for me? And he said, of course, let's come on over and let's do something. So that's how comics books started. They did a couple issues with Marvel. The best part of the story, though, was even though he's really desperate, he still walked in and kind of had this negotiation with Stan where he's like, listen, my artists are used to getting their artwork back. My artists are used to this. We're used to that. We're used to the other, and kind of made all these sort of demands, I guess, in order to do, even though he was like really desperate for some money for himself personally. He said he was at a point where he didn't know how he was going to pay for the house. He was that kind of hard up for cash, right? But I mean, it was such a good story. Like, just again showed his personality of how important the artists were to him, and Stan was good to all of that. He said yes to all of the things that he kind of threw out there. Only did a couple issues with him, but it was a phenomenal story, and he's got just a million of them about kind of this self-publishing world and dealing with these artists. And he's got some good stories about Crumb, and he's got some good stories about Crumb and stuff too. It's well worth checking out. I guess they're going to do a part 2 because I think they got up to, did they get up to 1980? I think they just covered the 70s in this first kind of 2-hour interview, which happened, I think it was last Sunday. So that he's going to come back hopefully and kind of carry on from there. But really great talking about like meeting Will Eisner and building that relationship and things. And the other part of that, going to Marvel, he was going to go to Warren. He got a call from, is it James Warren? Is that the guy's name? Yeah. So we got a call from him to come down and, listen, why are you going to Marvel? I can help you out with this thing, with this venture you want to do, and come and meet with me. He had a meeting with them, and his assistant there had asked if he wanted some coffee, and he said, yeah, I'll take coffee with some cream in it. She came back with coffee with no cream in it, and apparently James Warren lost his shit, pounded on the desk, and kind of yelled at her. And he's like, in that moment, I knew, yep, I'm not working with this asshole. Fuck this guy. It's like, we still had the meeting. I don't remember what we talked about. That moment just kind of cemented it, and it was just such a good kind of, how these deals can just go south with one. I mean, that's maybe a little more than a minor thing, but with one kind of moment, he's just like, yeah, fuck this guy. He's an asshole. I ain't working with him. I'm going to Marvel. They're going to treat me better, Yeah, it's really, really good stuff. Some good history there. Donald, do you have anything else to share with us?
Yeah, I've got, when I was in the shop looking at that pee pee poo poo, this caught my eye. It's a little,
wow.
a little mini comic It's called Underwater Crystal Zone Comics #3, which is with this an XL flower, and it's by a guy named Daniel Toucan Starflower. It's kind of an exotic name.
Ooh,
But
look at that.
it's kind of it's in black. The inside's in black and white. It's kind of a silent comic through most of the book. But the artwork is really simple. It's really good. And we'll go through half of the book. I don't want to give it away, but it's a very nice little mini comic, and it's amazing origin issue.
Looks really, really nice.
Yeah. So
Is that a local artist to you?
no, I'm not sure where. I'm not sure where it's published. The comic shop picked up a lot of indie stuff from like mini comics, and I'm not sure where he got them. I have to ask him where he got them. But that was a fun little thing. And
Those kind of finds are always so much fun. It's great that your shop carries that kind of stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, Peter. He's really he really loves comics, and he does go the extra mile to get things. And have you guys ever heard of Opus Comics?
Oh gosh, yeah.
Yeah, they came up with this idea that they could sell me. If they do a comic book with every Frazetta cover painting on the cover, they'll sell it to me for $5. This is the latest. I think this is the latest issue number. The print is so small, number 9, and with the Frazetta cover, and the inside, the stories are they're okay. It's by Mitch Iverson. Art by Esau and Isaac Escorza, with colors by Delgado.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the art. It reminds me kind of like heavy metal kind of stuff. It's very good artwork. But if I was 14, I would eat this stuff alive.
Yeah.
But I just buy them for the covers.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's a good thing they've done, because even my shops carry them, and I guarantee it's only because they're Frazetta covers.
Yeah, and they do. That's the weird thing. They do 4 different covers.
Yep.
Frazetta is always the B cover, and but the good thing is they in the back of the book they print all the other covers. So you get them.
Oh wow!
And very good artists.
Look at that,
But this guy Panosian.
Oh wow, yeah.
He's really good. And then they started another series called Dawn Attack.
Yeah, that's the one I saw when I was there the other day.
Which is sort of more of a science fiction type of thing. And then I noticed in the back they're starting another one, Tales of Science Fiction. With Frazetta.
So yeah, well, Frazetta sells all the time, isn't it?
So I don't know. That one's quarterly. So hopefully they keep coming one a month, because that's about comfortable for my budget. If they start coming out with 3 or 4 a month, I don't know.
Yeah. What are the interiors like in that Dawn one there? Just is it the same artist, same creative team?
This is Joey Hauser and Eric Campbell are the writers, and Diego Yapur and DC Alonso on colors. And the art's, I don't know, I think I like this a little better. It's a little cleaner than the other one.
Oh yeah.
Dawn is the name of the character. She's her father apparently has been kidnapped, and she's out to to rescue him.
Yeah, wow, look at those faces. Pretty cool.
Yeah, the artwork is very good. Let's see if I can find something that jumps out at me. There's a lot of like darker pages.
Yeah.
But,
nice, yeah.
This it's a little bit. The story's a little better, a little bit easier to read too. So Dawn Attack, I kind of like that one. Here's the first issue, which had a wraparound prosthetic.
Yeah, look at that. That's the one I saw. Yeah.
And the interior artwork is by the same artist. It's
Okay.
pretty good.
Yeah, it's good.
Don't really have much to say about it. They're just straightforward science fiction. And again, there's 4 covers, and they print them in the back.
Hey man, it's a good deal putting them all in the back. That ain't such a bad idea.
Yeah,
That's good. Well, especially then you don't have to buy all covers,
Right.
right.
Cool.
As far as new stuff,
Mhm.
it's, I get some mainstream comics, Noctera and Gru.
Oh yeah.
I did get this new Doctor Strange.
You did, yeah.
Did you see this, Terrence?
I did. I picked it up because I'm a sucker for those covers, right? So
Yeah,
I picked it up and read it. Yeah. What did you think of it?
It's like the opposite of Fall Sunrise. It's just really light and it's just Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, this superhero, that superhero.
Yeah.
And this Pascal Ferry, I've read good things about his artwork on Twitter. A lot of people really like him. It's good. It's good artwork. It's some Brad Moore, but it's it's serviceable.
Totally.
So I'm not sure if I'm going to get the next issue or not. It depends on my budget when it comes out, how big my pull list is. But I'd say it's a decent book. It was I guess worth the $5.
Yeah, I mean, I think you make a good point of like this serviceable art, right? Like, not to compare everybody to Tradmore, but the thing is, I don't want serviceable art. I want, especially in a Doctor Strange, I want something. You know what I mean? Like, give me something that's gonna impress. You know what I mean? Don't just go for. And also, because I haven't followed it, I was saying to Rasa as well during our chat that I just felt there was so much that I didn't know. I know that he died. I know that he came back. Like, I knew all that stuff. I had read 1 or 2 issues of the Clea when she was Doctor Strange, but it just feels like there's just so much that I missed where it's just not anything that I could wrap my head around or really had interest other than the cover.
I don't know if it's the color or what. It's all very pastel.
Yeah.
And it doesn't really jump out like the brilliant colors in that last Doctor Strange series.
It has like that Isad Ribic quality, like that Thor stuff.
Yeah.
Doing Thor.
You need to get used to that one kind of things because it's not always at the beginning. Seems like you say it's like missing out because there doesn't have the black underlines of the characters and you feel like it's just gonna blend in the whole page into each other. So
Also, there's a backup story from an offshoot of S.H.I.E.L.D., the Wand.
Yeah.
You said
Wizardry, alchemy, necromancy department. They're recruiting this it's like a wizard or something. He's got this ship that's psychoactive. I don't know exactly how it works, but he's got a ray or something that puts everybody on an acid trip, and he's going to turn on the whole city at one time.
Right.
And these Wand members, they come up and they say, well, we kind of like your idea, but maybe it's not such a good thing to shoot these people that are driving home from work, and turn them on. So they're trying to convert him into from being a bad guy into a good guy. Right.
Yeah, it had kind of like a Brendan McCarthy kind of vibe to it, I could see him doing something like that. But yeah.
So I don't know if that's going to be another book or if it's going to continue in Doctor Strange or what.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we'll see how long it lasts. I mean, it seems like the thing is they do these 10-issue series or whatever, and then, it'll be another arc, which will be a number 1. And yeah, it's just too much to kind of, but I love the cover. The cover is beautiful. I really, it's again, buying it for the cover. It's in the drawer now. It's filed away.
Yeah.
Never to be seen again.
Yeah, mine was filed. I had to pull it out. Out for the show here.
Yeah.
The same with the final issue of Gru, Gods Against Gru.
Oh, beauty.
That was really a fun series. It, of course, Gru being a god couldn't last forever.
Uh-huh.
But it's just fun. Just Sergio Aragonés is such a genius.
Yeah, drawn in like 10 minutes probably. Yeah.
But
Cool. Where's here it is. So I went to this flea market that I don't always go to yesterday. Found a couple of books, and one that I read right away. I've never seen it in person before. For Batman and Robin Adventures, Sub-Zero, from 1998. So there was an animated movie, which I still have on VHS somewhere in some box somewhere. It was one of our favorites. It was my son and I, one of our favorites. Like the way that this animated show dealt with Dr. Freeze, I thought was really, really great, because this kind of, and my son and I were talking about it today on our way home. The characters of Batman, especially how they were used in the animated series, they all had kind of like these motivations. They weren't totally bad people. So this one, the surprise for me in this one was written by Kelly Puckett, penciled by Joe Staton, and inked by Terry Beatty. And the art is really phenomenal. Like, it still holds a lot of that animated series, but there's something extra going on with the poses and the action of the characters. So it's, from what my memory is, it's a pretty straight ahead adaptation of the movie. Barbara Gordon there jumping for her life. It's a pretty straight ahead adaptation from the movie, but there's something extra. I'm trying to look for some of these really, there's just some really good body language and poses from people in here. It gives it a real lively feel. This was a really fun book. I've never seen it out in the wild before, so I snatched it up. It cost $5, which, obviously $1 is better, but $5 ain't so bad. And I think it's because it's just not around. Like, you just don't see it. So yeah, lots of stuff with Barbara Gordon. So Dr. Freeze, of course, he's dealing with his wife. He gets attacked. There's a cave in, and it puts his wife's frozen body in jeopardy. Like, look at this stuff. I'm showing all these Barbara Gordon scenes, not on purpose. It's just, she's very expressive, and that body language is so great. Like, slipping on the ice here, this sort of thing here. Really, really nice. And the kind of touching thing about it is that even though things kind of go south for Dr. Freeze, everything sort of kind of works out. So she needs an organ transplant, and he kind of kidnaps this doctor and says, basically, you're going to do this work for me. And they kidnap Barbara Gordon because she's a match to his wife, of course. Has to be. You couldn't have some random stranger on the street. So as kind of things inevitably happen at the end, and there's destruction, and Dr. Freeze escapes, we the usual from the animated series when it comes to Dr. Freeze. Is he dead, or did he somehow manage to escape? You have this final scene where these guys are watching the news about, in a case that could herald a new era in cryogenic medicine, Nora Freeze has been revived from her frozen state and has undergone a vital organ transplant. Nora Freeze is the wife of the late Victor Freeze, who was killed 2 weeks ago when an offshore drilling platform exploded and collapsed in the ocean. And staring from the window, of course, is Victor Freeze, hearing the good news and walking off into the raging blizzard instead of the sunset. So good. And there's the cover of the animated, the one-off movie that they did. Highly recommended. It's one of the better. I mean, it's all really, really good, but that movie is so good. So this is a damn good issue if you can find it in the bins. And it's kind of double sized too. Like, it's double the thickness of a regular book. Such a great, surprising find.
That's cool. I like that.
Yeah.
I actually watched that one. I definitely know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I've seen that for sure.
Yeah.
Like we planned it, so
yeah,
my
totally.
goodness.
Yep.
So yeah. So I need to thank you for this.
Hey.
So I have 2 more issues. So my comic book guy is keeping the issues, and he reminds me to pick it up. And thankfully, I did it. This time we got reminded of it. So I got 2 issues. So I'm up to 3 now. Is this like what, 6 issues, 7 issues? He said.
I think there's 7 that's going to come out. The other one, the next one was delayed. I was looking for it yesterday when I was at the shop, but it's not out yet.
Oh, okay. Anyway,
I'll look
so I
while
still
you're
have.
talking.
Yeah, I'll still gonna be caught up, but this is really good. I think I enjoyed more than the other ones we've been reading. What is the other
Yes.
ones called now? I forgot.
The adventure continues.
Yeah, adventure continues, exactly. But this is really, I'm surprised how many storylines is involved in one. So it keeps on blossoming. So we have this guys who are absolutely obsessed with swords, and they tell you the story. They give you in the second issue, they give you a behind story. Who is that they will kind of like have a sword for, and who is supposed to work for. And spoiler alert, is Ra's al Ghul.
Mhm.
So and also we have this underlying story with Killer Croc and his visions of this maddening girl. Is that an Eric Powell cover for Batman Audio? I'm not sure.
I don't think so.
No, it's it says Johnson and Afterburn. I don't know if you can guys see that little
Right.
thingy here. So and then the story is, as I say, it's really flourishing, and hallucinations what Killer Croc sees because he was doused with this stuff. Also, of course, give you a background story of Ra's al Ghul involvement and how he became immortal, which is funny enough how Batman is not aware in this series about Ra's al Ghul at all. So this is new for him, which was kind of refreshing to read as well. So that's how, like he got ill because of the era and time he was born into, but then suddenly because of his powers, he managed to acquire, he gained his full ability not to die anymore. And then another thing which I really like about is that comedic side to it, and it's like they try to explain the seriousness of this, and Batman's like, are you talking about that? And it's like, oh, probably language barrier or something like that, which is fantastic. And really hilarious. Of course, there's another storyline with Batman and Robin, and I was thinking maybe it's too much to go on in this, but it kind of flew really nicely. Especially, I like these moments with Alfred and Robin talking to each other and covering these situations about freezing the mammal and why they're doing that for. And then you have issue 3 in here where there's more story and flourishes, and Batman is kind of being a detective who he is trying to uncover. It's really good. The art is spectacular. The coloring is great.
So amazing. Yeah.
The paper they're printing on is exactly how I would like them all to be like, because there's no much glare, and it's really good. And I'm glad, like you say, you keep on saying to me, and my comic bag somehow had back issues. I didn't have to like really go in on eBay, actually purchase. The Penguin looks fantastic as what Penguin is supposed to look like. The animated series, which I absolutely love, those crazy teeth and he's drooling and all that stuff. It's just a hilarious part of the storyline.
Always drooling,
and it's really well told. Okay, this flows really nicely, and honestly, reading this, it makes me want to go more into DC world, because these advertisements they're going for kind of like intrigues me, but I was like, oh, calm down, there's probably going to be disappointing, or it's too much money to spend. But like always, I had made my due diligence and I drew. I liked this scene a lot, and I drew it myself.
Oh, hey, yeah.
So I was thinking, okay, I really like that part of the Killer Croc, and I think it's flourishing even further more to understand the character in this world particularly. So fantastic little things. I highly recommend if you just wanted to enjoy Batman world without hefty price tag or a lot of good backgrounds to read. This is the story there. And I just realized now, looking at the screen, this is a crow in the background, which sometimes you don't realize when you see the covers. So so Batman Audio Adventures are like you recommended, Terrence, but I highly recommend it as well because they're so much fun.
It's 5 issues so far, and it goes 7 so it's only 2 more issues to go. And I think the sixth one comes out later this month. I think was the date that I saw.
Okay.
But yeah, I would agree with everything you said. Like it's so much fun. It's beautifully
hilarious.
drawn. Even
Yeah.
though there's a lot of storylines, I find
Yeah.
that they weave them together really well.
Yeah.
I don't find myself confused.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
laid out really nicely. So yeah, it's an impressive book, man. Really,
Definitely
really
have
fun.
a good editor, I guess.
Yeah.
Look, if you want to say that, but yeah, it's as I say, really good, and I actually more and more I'm more intrigued about Killer Croc, and I want to know exactly how we're gonna continue with him and his hallucinations with that doll slash kind of living being or whatever.
They treat
he
him
sees.
so well in that book, and the way they deal with his backstory, I thought it was really nice too. So it feels like a bit of a different Killer Croc than I've seen before in my limited experience with Batman books. But
also, what's nice that Batman is there. He's talking, and there's that, but there's lots of like you say, background other stories which they get limelight even more in the storyline when the like Batman himself is like brooding, and I really like the way they draw the cape there, all down and all the like those spikes are coming out, just fantastic.
Ross, I'm curious. How much time do you spend on those sketches that you do in your Sketchpad?
Oh, like 5 minutes each, I think. 10.
They're very good.
Mm-hmm.
I don't use pencil. That really kills the time. Of course, because I don't do that, I can be looking a little bit often sometimes. There's one which is the last book I've read after I talk to you, which I was highly impressed by, and I drew the way he did it. Oh, now I spoil who he or she. Anyway, so and it's really minimalistic, and I try to be kind of like get into the minds, but yeah, that's what I do because I see what they like it's easy. I kind of like what they say, copy of what people do, but it's not easy to do while you're not using pencils.
Right.
So I kind of like struggling sometimes, but when it works out, it works like okay, cool, I did it.
Yeah.
But it's sorry, it does mean that when it doesn't really work out, it's okay. It's for me at the end of the day. It's for me to record what I like. But honestly, I'm having so much fun with some stuff, especially you kind of discover new ways of drawing like eyes or expressions or movements, even what other people were. So similar, like simplistic art style can be quite more difficult when it goes over like many like lines in there. So yeah, they don't take me long if I have time to do them. So I usually kind of like it's actually really good because that I give my time myself for drawing because I really kind of like yearning for that now. So it makes me feel good, and I'm glad I start doing that again because I kind of took a break because of the different schedule and stuff like that.
Right.
You enjoy seeing them. It's sort of the best part of the channel.
Yeah, no, it's such a great idea. Yeah, it's really nice.
So I try. That's what I'm saying. I try to do all of the stuff I've read, so already can show it to you with what I'm talking about because it's actually quite fun. When I don't do it anymore, it's like, oh, something's missing, so I have to show kind of thing. But
and at the end of the year, like going back through that book is going to be just an absolute treat.
Yeah,
I'm already read, like to see it.
Yeah, I already went through because as I say, it's really good. Because now I actually write down the writers or the creators of that. Yeah. Because actually sometimes I realize when I go to library I maybe have read it or picked up something similarly to that vein, but it seems to be I'm continuously doing without something I've done already. So which is great, but also it's very nice to see because it's so different. Like the styles I've been like reading out from all sorts of places, so which is great for me to discover as well and just make myself better at it, I guess.
That's absolutely. Cool. Donald Rex, do you have anything else for us?
Yeah, I went to a little mall show here in town last weekend, and I picked up a few things. Comics have gotten so expensive, so I've been buying war comics because you can get them a little cheaper. Like I can get war comics for $5 or $10. This is an old Army at War.
Oh yeah,
Joe Kubert cover.
Yeah,
and I like Joe Kubert art.
Yeah.
He's I'm not so crazy about the Bob Canada stories. He's kind of I don't know how to put it. He's kind of like a jingoistic kind of a guy.
Right.
But I love Kubert's artwork.
Yeah.
Look at that face, the shadowing on that face. That's beautiful.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
he's really quite good. And in the backup story is the reason I bought this one. It's by Gene Colan,
Mhm.
and I'm a big Gene Colan fan. It's a lot
Yeah.
different. It's a lot different than his Marvel work, but the way he breaks down the stories are very entertaining.
Mm-hmm.
So I got this one, and I got it another one.
That's
Mhm.
good.
I liked his covers are always pretty adventurous.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's more Kubert inside. But I also picked up Huckleberry Hound.
Oh yeah,
That's cool.
amazing.
Goki, yeah.
And let's see, I got a couple issues of Commandy,
Nice.
which are always fun.
Yeah,
Yeah.
The guy had half price on his stuff. I also got
yeah. The Commandees, when I see them, they're usually beat to hell because I rarely see them. So the ones that are in the bins are just destroyed.
yeah, these are really just reading copies, but I just like to read them every once in a while.
Yeah.
And I like the Dan Parent cover on this.
Yeah,
Red
that's
Sonja
really
and
nice.
Nicole meet Betty and Veronica.
Yeah.
I thought that was a pretty nice cover.
Beautiful.
Very good.
So that was my haul from the convention.
Cool.
You know, it's like superhero books of that vintage have gotten so expensive. I mean,
Really,
just
Hank?
Oof.
to get beat up copies, you're paying, $15, $25, $30. And I can't, that's not in my budget. But
Yeah.
the war
Mhm.
comics, the old war comics, I can get for $5 or $10, and I enjoy picking them up and reading them.
Yeah, I wonder what's going on with the price hikes. Maybe people were used to COVID prices because there was that little blip early on in the pandemic where people were paying insane prices for stuff. Maybe it's
Yeah.
still a holdover from that.
People
Well,
are
if
putting
people-
up prices, but I find that I can talk them down usually because they're
Mm.
sitting at a show and they're not selling much stuff. But if you're going to pull out $50, they'll usually come
Take it.
down for you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Less books to walk away with for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I'm afraid to go to covered market in London.
Yeah.
Because I used to be like all the bin boxes, as you call them, for the pound. They used to be there, and I knew that there was a time when I was going there where they were already putting the prices up. And
I did get one more book.
Good point there, Andrew Lopez.
Yeah.
Vendor fees passed on to the customers. Good point.
mhm.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I love that series.
Frank Thorne cover.
Yeah.
I was hoping it'd be Frank Thorne inside, but it's not. But I wasn't disappointed because it's John Severin,
Uh-huh.
Oh, nice.
which I just really love his books. He's a great war artist. And the backup story is by George Evans, who is an EC artist and does. Let me see. He's really good with aircraft.
Mm-hmm.
But so I got this book for $5. I thought it was a steal just for the Frank Thorne cover. I love Frank Thorne's work.
It's a fun series too. I've got the whole run of it, and I really enjoy it. I haven't read every single issue, but I've read a good chunk of it, and it's really fun. Hello, Paul Acosta. Dynamite does the weirdest crossovers. Yes, absolutely. Red Sonja and Betty and Veronica for sure.
Yeah.
Hello, Andrew Lopez as well, by the way, and Forgerelli.
And Damien.
Yes, and
Damien.
Damien, of course.
Yes.
Giving you props for being a Sergio Aragones booster.
Mm-hmm.
Who isn't?
Yeah. What do I got next here? Let me see. I don't have too much. I'll talk about this one. I don't have a million things to say about it. It was a gamble again because it was such a light week for new books. I thought I'd give one a shot because the art intrigued me. I don't know if I'm going to continue with it, but it's called "Don't Spit in the Wind" by Mad Cave Comics. The style is really intriguing. It looks like stuff was drawn small and detailed and then blown up. It has this really unusual feel to it. So it's sort of this sci-fi type of tale where we're following this group of basically garbage collectors. The planet is uninhabitable without these special suits. So everybody lives in a space station orbiting the Earth. And there's these people that are coming down to kind of clean things up, clean up the planet as best as they can. It kind of goes pretty fast. They lose contact with one of the groups, and he's sent in to kind of deal with them. It was just really, the art was so intriguing to me that I couldn't pass it up. I don't know if I liked it or if I hated it, but it has this kind of amazing quality to it. But it really does feel like it's these images blown up, because there's this almost graininess to it. And I know a lot of that is put in there on purpose. You know, the Ben-Day dot type of thing you can see, and all these things. It looks like there's some manipulation done there, but it's pretty interesting. Yeah, so it's not horrible. And we'll see where it goes. I may give it a second issue. It just felt like this first issue really went fast. But some of these suits are kind of ridiculous looking in that kind of 2000 AD type of way, or again in that Brendan McCarthy type of way where they just look kind of absurd. Especially stuff like this is pretty great. Like that whole machine that he's got on there looks like, how are you even taking a step forward? But I do kind of like it. So they come across this horde of locusts that he starts to burn out, and he finds the party that I'm totally going to spoil it, because it's not much of a spoiler, because you don't get any answers really. It sort of just sets it up for the next it sets it up for the next tale. So they find this guy, and he's been decapitated by something they're not quite sure. And this guy starts getting overrun by these locusts, and he's putting out a distress call to the kind of leader who's asleep in his chair there. So, and yes, I would agree with you, Forgerelli. It does have Brandon Graham type of vibes to it as well. And then there's the cover for the second issue there. It has those Brandon Graham kind of vibes. It just unfortunately doesn't have the Brandon Graham kind of storytelling. It's a little choppy. And then there's a sample at the back. I didn't read this for a book called Exorcists Never Die. The art didn't really do anything for me, so I didn't even read this little backup preview. But I'm not familiar with this Mad Cave, but I saw a bunch of covers online, and it just kind of really caught my attention. So figured, what the hell? How much was this one? This was it's a $4.99 book, which seems almost standard these days for price tags on newer books. But yeah, we'll see. I'll have a flip through the second issue if I remember when it comes out, and see if we can continue on it.
I don't know if I've ever seen that cover. I guess maybe somebody was showing on YouTube, the publisher of the.
Okay, yeah, the Mad Cave.
Yeah, I think maybe name in this show, but I don't know.
Stefano Cardacelli and Dan Lee are the creators too. If I didn't say that already, there's their names there.
Nice.
Not to change the subject, Terrence, but I saw that visual. What was it, that little film that you put up?
Yes.
Film, and I happened to be playing Iron Maiden when it came on.
Yeah,
it worked really well with that.
Amazing. Yeah, I think that was a fun week of kind of venturing into those kind of films. But some of them, I think that's exactly the way to do it, right? Like, pick your favorite soundtrack and get them. I was thinking when I was watching one of the guys, Jordan Belson is one of my favorites from this past week of digging in. Some of his visuals, I can just imagine like a late 60s, early 70s kind of psychedelic freak rock band with the visuals on a big screen behind them as they're jamming and the lights are out and stuff. It's so kind of conducive to whatever kind of music you want to put on, I think. So that's cool that worked out. Iron Maiden, eh? What song were you listening to?
Oh, I forget.
Okay,
it was just something that was playing on. I had the music playing in the background while I was watching it.
Yeah, perfect. I don't know if I read this one out loud already. Mad Cave is a publisher stay away from. Several other books, all disappointing. Yeah, it's like I said, I've seen the logo before, but I couldn't tell you any of the other books. And we'll see if I go any further with that one. Rasa.
Okay, so that is my last.
Okay.
Of the reads, but I think it's one of it's the best book of the creator so far. So it's called A Sister by A Blaze, a publishing house.
I've heard of them.
Bastien Vives is the creator. So I had of his a book called Paulina, but it didn't give me as much as an impression as this did. This is really actually quite intriguing little storyline. It was published in 2021. It's Blaze Publishing is based in Portland, apparently, Oregon, according to those letters. But it's a little story about a family of two boys who goes on holidays in French countryside. It seems to be all of them having like this nice summer houses by the beaches, and they're going into this little getaway for the summer for 2 months, apparently spending that time. And we follow the story of these two boys, brothers. One is 14, I think, and another one is like 7. I think so, or maybe older than that, or younger anyway. But it's about a boy who has basically, I don't know if you boy, I'm not a boy, so I'm not sure if that's what dreams come true, but it's when he's meeting a friend's, a family friend's daughter who comes to visit because of an unfortunate event which happens to the family. So, and of course, when you have a teenage boy and a girl who's aging much quicker than the boys, there is some of the lust and uncomfortable feelings towards, what's happening to the boy when he's not yet into that realm of understanding himself when it comes to girls and, sexual intermissions and stuff like that. But the story starts with them kind of venturing outside. They get interrupted because when we spent time on the beach, the other kids were basically chasing him back because they said that it belongs the toy to one of them, and they were getting to fight. He got really kind of like barraged by the school of kids. But then what they didn't realize, I think they dropped some 60 euros down on the floor and they found it, and they were really happy about the situations. So when the girl comes into, this is the girl we're talking about. At the beginning, she looks quite young, but then you see her body, and you'll kind of like, for a teenage boy, it's like, I presume that would be kind of entertaining and exciting as well. And she's the one who's not there you go. So he is just like merrily having a good time, and she's starting to undress in front of him, starting giving him questions. He's like, she's giving such attention, but like the girls we play with boys quite intensely without realizing how much damage do we do to them sometimes. And she is basically making him notice the side of him where, like I was trying to explain, he wasn't really kind of thinking about it yet. He was drawing all the time the comic books, or he's kind of into art as well. His brother is extremely into Pokemon, and he was basically drawing Pokemon for his brother, or together we're drawing. And suddenly the girl comes in who smokes as well. She's like, what, I don't know, 15 something or 14 or something like that of her age. And she's not afraid to talk to other people. She's not afraid to drink. Then they basically start giving him to drink, gets him into shower with her, washes his face because he's puked his guts out, starts to undress herself. This intimate shower scenes where his face is this most of the time, and he doesn't know what the hell is going on, and she's completely playing with him. It's really well told. I felt at times, like when I remember my times with summer holidays and discovering the times where you have like friends or younger brothers and sisters, and they do not care about nothing like that, and you like, okay, boys and stuff like that, or all that mad lust you feel for. and the amount of playing she's doing to him and groping and running into bed with him together, and then she goes away. The daytime comes in, and suddenly she kind of like in a way shrugs him off and comes back to him again. Is having this intimate kind of relationship, and like basically losing virginity and stuff like that to the point, but not fully committing
Right.
to it. So it's absolutely fantastic. So it has kind of bad notes right at the end, with kids going into swimming. The young kids think that they can swim as far as possible because they're young and they had a couple of drinks inside and they can reach the destinations. Unfortunately, a couple of them do not survive. And in what sense and why it happens, I'm definitely not going to spoil it. But this is the best Vives, Bastien Vives story so far, which I've read, because the Paulina, he have kind of about the ballerina girl, I kind of never kind of left the memories inside it, but this one so far is really intriguing. I guess I really enjoyed for the first time. I guess I'm really liking the scenes of the minimalistic art style he has. The styles when he uses, when afar the faces, you can't see any eyes or lips and stuff like that, but when it comes into scene or where you want to actually get that character into the main picture, you see everything, all the emotions in such a way where like everything, how she plays with her hair, she dries, and how he's not noticing anything, and it's just those emotions are really kind of in your face, and it's really kind of working for me. And I really like, of course, black and white with another hue color kind of scheme to it. And of course I had to draw, and I don't know if I can find that page, but I tried to capture as much as possible and him wandering upstairs, like looking up.
Really nice.
So and this is what I wanted, and I'm really glad the way it came out, because like it's really difficult, the style and generally just to grasp on the piece of paper, just a couple of lines and there you go, you tell the story of the person. But I think I definitely captured that.
Yeah.
So
that's good.
Yeah, so one of the kind of like, let's just say, I think it's just kind of start to understand how simplistic lines can tell so much more when you actually before I was like, oh, there's nothing in there, just a couple of scribbles, kind of like that's like not realizing how much complexity can you put in the page without needing to put so many lines. And of course, this is probably the most complex page he did. And funny enough, the story at the back says in here, he was born in France, of course, and his childhood was kind of similar to this boy we've fallen through. So he had a brother as well, they drew comic books. And I wonder, did he tell the story what he experienced it, or is it just the boy's imagination? But really good. And it's called his sister because the girl's mother has lost the baby. So that's why they're kind of hiding away, not hiding, kind of meeting their friends, because they wanted to just get away from all the things, because it's been 3 months. That kind of, when you lose the baby in 3 months term, it's kind of very difficult because it's already on the, you're on the path to having a child. So she wanted to always have a sibling. So she kind of at the beginning treating him like a brother, but then they're going into this, and like she started playing with him and emotions. She started realizing that how much intentions in his face is, like he's mesmerized by her looks and stuff like that. So really, really well told little story. I don't know if it's translated that well for me or just worked for me when I was reading it, but really good, absolutely fantastic. It's so minimalistic to itself, but it's really worked for me. So one of the stars of the Bastien work, so for sure.
Paula was saying that he's surprised that Vives has been published in English, even if it is a Blaze. He's not an obvious author to try to push in a market obsessed with bombast and pizzazz. And then Andrew saying, I think with titles like Art Brut and past releases from a Blaze, I can see it being more accepted, just surprised given his content. And I think that's the beauty of that publisher that I used to read, Blaze. They did seem to they did take a good chance with some of these titles, right? Like really, it seemed like they were looking for anything to translate.
I think the Paulina was printed by, I'm not sure if I'm correct, but I think it was Fantagraphics which worked for him. But this one, it's a surprise, the publishing house. But honestly, it's a bit of a sleeper of the book. I highly recommend for people just checking out to actually see fully experience the art style. It's not really big book to read or commit
Right.
yourself to.
Kind of usual Ablaze size, it looks like.
Yeah, $25 price tag on this one when it was released. But honestly, I didn't have any expectations. I wasn't sure about the art style at the beginning. I knew what I was looking for because as already Polina of his work I have already read. But honestly, this is ticked all the boxes for me, just as a piece of work and content what creator has produced. Really good. And now I need to cough. Too much.
On the other hand, he is close enough to manga to be attractive outside the typical US market. Yeah, there's definitely a manga feel to some of it for sure.
But I absolutely love it. And I think apparently they want to make a major movie out of this. So
right. Of course they do. Yeah.
Because it's Ablaze. I think that's what they always do, when they put the title in there. Apparently Charlotte Le Bon will be director of the movie based on this. But as I say, I absolutely was, because as I say, Polina wasn't giving me that much long lasting in memories when I read one of his stuff. But this one is exactly, I would say, if you want to discover the vaccine videos, I would definitely say just go for this.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if it's as I say, maybe the right moment, the right time, but it's the emotions he portrayed with the simplistic lines. Just I was really surprised, to be honest, how much emotion you can have in those pages.
I was a fan of Judy Blume books when I was a young teen, and that kind of gives me a feel of what her books had, like this, these teenage kids discovering their sexuality and things. They were really intriguing stories. They were great. That looks really good.
There was a scene I didn't show. There's a scene when she's giving him one, and he's like in the middle of everywhere.
Sorry, what? Sorry.
I'm not gonna. But it's in the daytime, and it's by the gate of people's entrance. It's like, what the hell would you? And the people and the woman who I think the woman or man was like, "Open, are you sure you know where you are?" And they just ran off, pulling their pants up and just ran off.
Right.
It's like, dude, pick up the right moment and places, for God's sake. So it's just funny. But yeah, those moments like that, kind of stupidity of the time. And she is not experienced once whatsoever, but because she is. She has some sort of experiences. She's completely taking over his life.
Right.
Completely changes his perspective to what to look forward to, kind of thing, and actually saves something, which I'm not gonna say. I said spoiler,
Right, okay.
so thankfully I didn't say the whole sentence.
Right.
Yeah, I don't want to spoil it because it's actually quite surprising. Even some of the parties we went into, what happened to the people around, the kids, what happens, what they come up into. So. Really recommend it. I don't know. I just absolutely loved it. As I say, you can probably
that's good.
hear it already.
Yeah, it's good to have those surprises for sure.
Yeah.
Donald, do you have anything else for us?
Well, I'm a little sheepish to show it, but I got one more book this week.
Yeah.
Sure.
DC Superstars, Sergio Aragones.
Nice.
This book from 1977.
Yeah.
It's kind of a throwback style from back when he was doing Plop and House of Mystery, House of Secrets. It's a little bit different from his Groo work. But there was one story that was kind of fun. It's called the 800-mile pipeline project to link North Shore Wells with Southern Alaska shipping port of Valdez incident. About this engineer who's he's ramrodding the whole program, and he's like, they're like, well, what is this going to do to the animals and the habitat? Screw the animals, So he tells all his men to just work hard and don't stop for anything. And one day, the animals they corner him and they push him into the pipe, and they're all around there trying. He's afraid to get out, and so they stay there all night. And the next morning, the people, the men come and they start putting the pipes on, one after another. And he's like on his hands and knees, and he can't catch up. And he goes through, he goes all the way to Valdez. He keeps, the animals come at night and they push him back in, and he's stuck in there. And the people, they can't hear him. And he goes all the way to the end, and then the pipe goes into the ship. And then the guy finally gets out, plop into the ship.
Amazing. That's incredible.
But and this was like 10 years before the Valdez oil spill.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And all the shit that's happened since. Yeah.
But his style is kind of like it's, I don't know how to describe it. It's like a little more crude.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I love that style because I'm a huge fan of Plop, and I really like that era of Aragones.
Yeah, it's distinctly Aragones, but it doesn't, he got so slick with Gru that that's kind of what my eyes are used to.
Mm-hmm.
The Return of the Elephant. But this was a fun book, and I saw it at the comic shop, so I snatched it up.
Yeah. I think I've got it somewhere in a drawer. I'm gonna have to pull that one out, even if it's just to read that one story.
What is it called again, so I can keep a note, because I didn't.
DC Superstars Presents number 13.
Okay, DC Superstars. Okay, presents.
It's not an expensive book. It's not that hard to find.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't really have that much Aragones, and I always wanted them in a comic format rather than and all the stuff. Of course, I always like, even though honestly, not really easy to find. When maybe my eye never was catching up to see that, but I always wanted to have some of this stuff because I really like that cartoony slash, I don't know, animator like scratch lines. There's so quickly it seems to be that the way he's been drawing and stuff like that. So
yeah, totally.
Obscure like noses. That noses is always like Aragones nose. You know exactly who it is. You don't see that because of the bump.
That little
you
bump.
Know, that just screams him as well. So.
I almost forgot I was at the flea market and I was walking along and I saw these 3 Pogo books wrapped up in string. And I go, how much for Pogo? And the guy goes, $1.
Oh man.
Wow.
So I got Pogo, I Go Pogo. Pogo, that's the first one. I Go Pogo is the second one, and the Pogo Papers, number 3. So I got all 3 of these Pogo books for $1.
For $1.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Wow,
And,
it's a steal.
The strips, strip reprints. They're they're kind of beat up. They're just reading copies, but
sure, but still,
that's great.
I've been having a lot of fun.
Yeah. They're fun stories. I started reading them in digital format for a couple of issues, and they're hilarious because especially the banter they come up with, the Pogo and the crocodile, the police guy. It's just hilarious. It's nice to read like some short stories for a little bit, go away, come back to it, and it's always a fun little thing. I'm just discovering though. I was never aware of Pogo beforehand, so also stripline, like strips in generally, wasn't something I knew about because I wasn't getting into that kind of stuff when I was growing up anyway. So. So yeah, this Pogo is fantastic, and they have those collected editions in hardcover format, which is great. But they're out of print, so it's really difficult to get hold of them.
Yeah, it's fun. I was amazed. I was like, okay, this is the best deal I got at a flea market in a long time.
Heck yeah, man.
Because the fancy graphics.
Good to be a fan of the stuff that everybody else just wants to discard, right? Like, so great.
Exactly. Yeah, it's a really good steal, especially in that like little format. At the end of the day, it's nice that art is not. I mean, it's a strip format at the end of the day, the art style, and it's for that era, the way they drew. It's like it's always mine. Just blows my mind. Without having all your internets and all the references around and available for you to just scribble around and blah 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 blah, but then just have that ability and caliber of the artistically people in that era is just amazing.
Yeah. Walt Kelly's kind of a sad character. I mean, he was world renowned and everyone really liked him, but he never kept any of his work. He never you know, he never regarded himself as an artist, and he just worked to the end and then died. And you know, it was like, you know, he never appreciated what a genius he was.
And there's so many of them in that era as well. They just did, you know, like just to survive. They were doing whatever they can and beat. But then and now these days, this like Pogo, which I don't know, but it's been collected. I as I say, read through, and it's like the artistic, like the simplicity of animals having conversation is funny, and it's really clear lines, and they like really good characters. You already start to like, oh yeah, I'm gonna, you know, like who's my favorite now? Is the Pogo character who's like, you know, who was getting in trouble? It seems to be by the crocodile character and stuff like that. But it's just like it's the banter as well. It's just like kind of refreshing to read.
Yeah,
when you're well aware of it as well.
Cool. I don't really have anything else. I don't want to talk about this last thing because it's not really much to say about it. It was a bit of a lighter week of reading, but the one thing I am almost done with, which I'll kind of just quickly show, because so far I'm mixed feelings about it, but overall I'm enjoying it. I've got a stack of shit going through this Chartwell Manor by Glenn Head from Fantagraphics. I think it was last year. I think it's a look at his time in this boarding school. Oh no, 2021 is when it came out. It's a look at his time in a boarding school and the stuff that happened there, the kind of abuses that have happened there that kind of affected him. So it's a bit of a heavy story, but it's an odd kind of mix so far. I'm probably I'm just creeping up to the halfway point. His style, I love. I've always enjoyed his style. I guess I am talking about this book. Here we go. Wasn't sure if I was gonna, but I guess we'll just kind of give you basics. I've always seen his style in like the anthologies and stuff growing up. He had some stories that were standouts for me for sure. This one gives you a little bit more of a perspective on where that came from. He was kind of a big time partier, drug and drinker, that sort of type of person. And this talks about how he kind of fell into that world at an early age. So he gets sent to this boarding school, and while it's heavy topics, I find his style sometimes it's almost in that Justin Green type of way where there's this interesting separation from the style that he draws in with the subject matter. The subject matter is really heavy, but the style sometimes doesn't allow you to kind of get fully into how serious some of the shit, because we're talking like abuse and sexual abuse more specifically. It doesn't give you the full on impact of it, I guess. So, and I'm kind of conflicted on how I feel about that. I don't necessarily feel that it has to be very, very realistically drawn to send that message. Not at all. But I am a little conflicted of how I feel about the storytelling due to his style, as beautiful as it is. But like I said, I'm halfway through, so we'll see how it goes. It's getting into a part now that he's now quite a few years past being at Chartwell, and he's in a public school, and he's getting addicted to pornography, and he's drinking a lot, and he's doing a lot of drugs, and he's really kind of isolating himself and trying to have these relationships with this one girl specifically, but then also this strained relationship with his parents, where he's trying to talk about what happened to him while he was at Chartwell, and it's just not being received by them, and you don't quite know why, if it's because they know what happened, or if they just don't want to talk about it, or where it's coming from right away. There's this one scene here where he smokes a couple of joints that are laced. I don't know if it's laced with PCP or what it is, but he really goes bonkers, and that gave me quite a bit of anxiety reading it. I've been in that mental state, and it really made me uncomfortable reading it, that's the stuff that I find impressive about this type of storytelling, being able to kind of put you in a space, as he tries to get with this girl who's she's been tripping on acid for, I think, a few days is what she says in the book. So that's where his style, I think, really works well, giving you this off kilter kind of feeling. So yeah, I'm at times like really impressed with it, and at times a little confused, and at times a little disturbed, and so. But I mean, at the end of the day, that's kind of what more could you ask for from a book, right? Like putting you through this kind of ringer to some degree of these emotions and stuff. So it's an impressive book. It gets a lot of praise. Robert Crumb, Peter Bagge, Noah Van Sciver, Justin Green himself, they herald it as kind of a pinnacle of this autobiographical comics. So getting praise from guys like that is pretty impressive considering their pedigree, right? So yeah, it's an intriguing book. Yeah.
Are you guys aware of these?
Not the cards themselves, not the Marvel ones. That's cool.
Yeah. So I went to charity shop looking for stuff for my kid, and I saw this one. Of course, I see Marvel. Oh, okay, cool. And then they have all the original art, and it tells you to. I mean, I don't know how to play this game in general, but I really like the art. So it's original art. So you have Black Bolt, you have a Baron Zemo, all of them, like Red Skull, his first appearance. How many times he appeared in the Marvel? Wow. 844 times. Like say, Lockjaw, Born in Attila, when it appeared the year afterwards, like this is nice. The She-Hulk, when she appeared, how many appearances she had, special powers, 35 special powers. Afterwards, MODOK. It's so nicely drawn, and like the original style of how appear, like Luke Cage, 1972. Also, look at that, Terrence. Doctor Strange.
What year did these come out?
I don't know really, to be honest, because it doesn't have anything.
Doesn't have much of anything. Yeah.
Yeah, it came in this case, case as well. But it cost me like 50p, so of course I'm gonna buy it.
Sweet.
Daredevil, of course, we have all of them, like Vulture and the arts, everything you have. It's kind of cool. Yeah, Black Panther. Black Panther only appeared 1800s, and of course, Tony Stark even has 2 appearances as a Tony Stark, and when he's appeared from 1963, and of course there's his Iron Man, and of course Spider-Man is the top trump, who appeared 9,935 times in Marvel Universe. Once on a science trip, Peter Parker was bitten by a radioactive spider to gain the great powers. Of course, Thor is here, and everyone like Nova. As I say, it's kind of nice. I actually quite cool because I wanted to show my son and see who is his favorite. And guess my son loves the bad guys. Red Skull. He likes the way it looks. Anyway, so I just wanted to show it to you. I found this. I thought it's a steal. Kind of like Marvel, with a Marvel storylines, like appearances and which year they appeared in, which is kind of crazy, Yeah. Like Hulk as well there, Destroyer is here, so what is it? Fantastic little thing.
I'm looking online. I can see the cards, but even in there, I'm not seeing the.
Yeah, when you released
they're really nice. There was a whole bunch of Marvel top trumps over the years. It looks like.
Yeah. But that's the thing.
Really nice images on that series.
This one in particular doesn't have all the new stuff. It's the old school, so that's why it's just like really nice.
Right.
Even Bruce Banner has 2 of them, himself as a Bruce and the Hulk as a Hulk. So it's kind of interesting as well. Very nice. Yeah. No X-Men though. I just realized.
Hey. All the more reason I'm hunting them down then.
No X-Men. No, not even one.
Yeah.
MODOK, Luke Cage, Spider-Woman, Ghost Rider.
No year whatsoever.
Yeah, no X-Men. I just realized that now.
Once you open the door on the X-Men, it never ends.
Yeah, Dormammu is in there, parents.
Hey, beauty.
I appeared in 1964.
What about
Only 360. No, Eternity. Only 364 appearances in Marvel by the time. I don't know how long the printing time.
Yeah.
So Dormammu has a body made of metal and was previously an energy-made being. He is now the ruler of Dark Dimension, is said to conquer the real world with his mystical powers.
Nice.
It gives us that little kind of like information tick, which is actually quite fantastically.
Yeah.
And Loki's here as well, 1949. Wow, he's appeared quite early. So, of course, Captain America is the oldest one. It has 1941, Patriotic Soldier, who came out to be.
Yeah.
Anyway. So it's kind of little like, I don't know, it's just nice to have that as like.
I think it's a great thing to have, especially for 50p.
Yeah, exactly. So it didn't go like, and I was like, I didn't have to, like, when they release these cards, they come out like for like almost like £7 or £8 or some ridiculous amount, and it comes in the case. It's like, why not? I have it. And I want to remember something or look at the characters. Why I can.
Yeah, totally.
I'm not sure if I know how to play the game, but it doesn't matter. It's a
Yeah.
card.
I'm sure you can find the rules online.
I bet.
Yeah.
Anyway, just want to show you.
So since we're talking that, then.
No.
Oh,
What's that?
man.
What is that? New releases?
Yeah, it was a release that was supposed to come out in 2021.
Oh.
But it didn't, and it came out this year. It came out in, I think it said when I was looking online last night, it came out I think February, or maybe it was March of this year anyway. So they're sticker cards.
Nice.
And it's insane the amount of kind of variants and stuff they have. But they have the classic, like the puzzle backs and stuff like this.
Oh,
and,
lovely.
the checklist. But what they do with these is there's an A and a B character. So every single card has an A and a B. But some of them are really, really fun in classic kind of Garbage Pail Kids man-eater. So a nice kind of style, but they've been really fun. So I bought a tin because you get 10 packs in a tin, and then there's some guarantees where you get some of the bonus ones. So I spent some time last night putting together a little
of course you did.
Of course, a little binder with some of the cards and things because I'm such a nerd. So I had to I was listening to some YouTube videos and putting these in and checking them out. There's some really kind of grotesque, as there should be. Pooped Pierre is a pretty good one. A mime taking a shit. So, it's good.
How much is the tiny little box cost these days?
So for each pack, I think was $2.99 Canadian, and I think you get eight cards per pack, and the tin I think was $33. I think is what it was, $32.99 or $33.99, something like that, and you get 10 packs in it, and then of course then you get the tin, which I'll keep the tin for I don't know what. I've already got a drug box, so I don't need another dope tin. So I'll just show you one or two more here, just ones that I thought were pretty.
Bloody hell! I should.
Pretty amazing.
My husband will have absolute kick out of this.
These ones were great. Twilight Joan and Airplane Jane. So that's what they do. So you get the A card and the B card, but from the infamous Twilight Zone episode starring William Shatner, where that thing is on the wing. Something is on the wing. And then this one here of Forrester Fire and Smoke Hen, the bear pissing on the fire. So they're fun. They're really fun. I wish they would do Mad Balls cards, but it doesn't seem to be the way. There was another really grotesque and funny one too, but
I missed out on all that stuff. I was in my 20s in 1980, so missed out on the cards.
They're a blast. And then there's also there's 10 that are these places, so like New York, Hollywood, Japan. So with the tin, you're guaranteed to get 3 of these per tin. If you buy packs, I don't know what the odds are. I don't remember what it said, but so you do get a little bit higher odds to get some of these things. But the thing with this series where they went a little nuts is that then there's also they also do, like, I don't know if they do the whole damn set again or what the deal is, but they have ones that have these borders on them. So they're the same cards, but they have
Yeah.
these different colored borders on them, and each of the borders is a different rarity as well too, which is that's the stuff where it gets like variant cover stupidity for me. So it's the exact same card, but it just has this yellow border or a green border or an orange border or a brown one, and there's different ratios for all of that stuff where it's like, get the fuck out of here. You've lost me at that point. I mean, if I could just get the main series, I think that would be fun. Yeah, this was another one that I liked as well too. Hygiene Heine.
Oh my god, it's going through both areas.
Yeah,
oh my
pretty
god.
fantastic. So, you know, classic Garbage Pail Kids filth. And then you get some, they also have, I think it's a series of 10 that just have this, don't make me pull this car over, with some great images there too. Don't bug Mia. So it's all things that are focused on driving. So Wint in my pants, which is pretty good. Yeah, so fun shit, man. And you know, kind of feeds my scratches my itch for card collecting. One of them dumped in the back of a trunk there. If it'll focus, no, I guess not. Trunk fill. There you go. So yeah, Garbage Pail Kids goodness.
Jesus.
So my daughter bought a couple of packs too. So we sat and opened, and you know, so I've got some doubles for her that I'll pass off. But because we're big, we both have sticker books, and we have, you know, our sticker collections that we do together. So these are pretty good.
Oh,
yeah,
cool.
because I still have a sticker book that I had when I was about 9 years old. I've still got it.
What?
So we looked through that. Yeah. It's one of the few things that I somehow have. It's just come with me. I don't know. I mean, I know why, because I loved it when I was a kid. I loved going and getting stickers and stuff. But it's lasted with me. So now we do stickers together, me and her. So we've got a couple of scratch and sniff for our scratch and sniff stickers. We got a couple of books, and we get stickers and sit and, you know, trade and give them away to her friends and stuff and do our sticker albums together. So it's pretty fun. She absolutely loves it. I adore it. I think it's the best just to kind of hang out with her and, you know, scratch these goofy stickers. And so, yeah, one of these made it into our sticker book as well too. So,
Oh,
yeah,
that's cool. That's sweet. Very nice.
Cool. Well,
Okay. Well,
should we call it a day?
Yeah.
looks like you have to.
That's it.
Can't follow Garbage Pail Kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That's true. You can't top them unless, like I said, it was Mad Balls. So let's get some Mad Balls cards going here, people. Come on. Thanks very much, everybody in the chat who joined us for Sunday. So we're back to the Sunday streams. So next week we'll be on Russ's channel. So make sure that you're subscribed and come and hang out with us next weekend is Easter, isn't it?
Yes.
So maybe not next weekend. Yeah.
Oh.
Maybe the weekend afterwards. We'll see how it goes. Yes. Good point. I always forget about those holidays.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll see. Maybe we can talk if you have time.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. Thanks very
right.
much. And we'll talk to you later.
All right.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.